What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to another video, and on this video I am going to be doing a trade recap on all the trades that I took last week. I did not post last week just because I was really busy. I didn't really have time to post. So yeah, I just decided to make all the trade recaps on just in one video. I did post one trade recap, which was on the Tuesday, I think. I'm pretty sure it was Tuesday. Let me double check. Yes, it was on Tuesday. Yeah, it was on Tuesday. I did post a trade recap on Tuesday on the S&P trade, which was, yes, I did post one. I just wanted to verify that I did. I already made a trade recap on this trade right here, which is going to be posted after this video, but let's go ahead and get started on the trade recaps. Last week I took 3 trades. On Tuesday I made $204. On Thursday I made 122, and on Friday I made 148. All right. But yeah, let's go ahead and get started. As you guys know, on the start of May, I was having a rough start overall on the week of May, which was leaving me break even on the first 2 weeks, sorry. And then on the third week, that is when things started to become a lot better, and I ended up being up on the month, which is really good. I ended up being about 10 to 15% above my account, which is really good. As you guys know, I do trade on a live account, so I only made I do trade on a live account. I do not trade funded. So yeah. And if you guys are wondering, oh, why don't you trade funded? Oh, it's because the reason being why I have a thing with funded where I don't really like them just because during 2024 I was trading funded. I did pass an account, but at the end of the day I ended up blowing the account because of the rules, and then as well as the prop firm that I did ended up using stopped, or not, shut down. So I'm like, bro, whatever, bro. So I just decided to go on a live account and decided to do it with my own money, and I like it so far. So I don't really plan on switching. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. All right, so this is Monday 26. Monday. What the hell? Okay. Alright, so I already did a trade recap on the Tuesday's trade, so you can go watch that. But let's go ahead and go to Thursday. I do not trade on Wednesdays just because Wednesdays for me are just so garbage. I do not like trading Wednesdays, to be honest. So yeah, I decided to just stop trading Wednesdays. I only traded Thursday and Friday. So let's go ahead and get started on this trade. As well as make sure you guys join the Discord. I do have my winning trades on there, and as well as I also do have my what's it called? I do also post my losing setups on there as well, right? As you guys know, I do post all my trade recaps. But yeah, so yeah, let's go ahead and get started on this trade. Let me just find the setup. Give me 1 second. Alright, boys. So on Thursday, I did ended up taking 2 trades. On Thursday I ended up taking 2 trades right here, which is gonna be the on the 15 minutes. So I took 2 trades on the S&P and on NQ. Alright, I decided to take the S&P and NQ trade. Alright, so right here, alright, so this right here is the trade. on the S&P, this was the first trade I ended up losing. Reason why I ended up losing was just because I cut off my loser very short, which is meaning basically like I cut off my loss. Like I was gonna lose around $120, but I only cut it. I only lost 60. So reason being why I cut off my loss was because of this candle. All right, this candle. Yes, I always say, you know, TP or SL, whatever, let it get hit. But all right, I decided to enter off of a breakout candle right here. As you guys can see, there was a 15-minute demand zone right here, right? On the higher time frames, if we go to the 1 and the 4, yes, it looks like we're consolidating. Reason why I was going for buys was because I didn't, well, it wasn't really giving me a sign to go for buys. We took out London's highs. If we wanted to be bearish, we would have continued to go lower, but we didn't. We took out London's high, right? We created a breakup structure to the upside. Yes, on the higher time frames, it looked like we were consolidating. It was a really tough spot to find out where we were exactly going, right? But I decided to take a chance on S&P buys. Reason being why was because we had a 15-minute supply zone. We had a breakup structure to the upside, right? But I did not like the trade, but I decided to join the trade just because it gave off those chances, right? So decided to enter off of a breakout candle right here, right? So the first candle did ended up breaking right as soon as possible, so I was in this trade, and as you guys can see, I was up in profit and had a good rejection to the downside. I decided to get out right there, so I ended up losing around $60, so like right there basically as my SL. And then all of a sudden a spike to the upsides ends up playing out. Like, bro, I was so close to getting stopped out, and then all of a sudden a fucking candle just decides to fucking pump. And there was no news, by the way. There was no news, right? So I was like, bro, whatever, right? Decided to just cut my loss. Ended up losing $60, right? I went to the next pair, which was NQ. All right, NQ to me looked a lot better, just because on the S&P it was the leading pair. But the reason why I did not take this trade, or why did I not held this trade, was just look at the rejection going back down. And like I said, we were on a tough spot on the higher time frames. Didn't really know where we were gonna go, either to the downside or the upside, because it looked like we were consolidating, right? Did not take this trade. Did not take it. I did ended up getting out this trade, sorry. On NQ now. NQ, right, we did have a 13 EMA breakout candle to the upside, which I decided to take right here, and I targeted a 1 to 2 RR. So I had risked around $100, and I made around $200, right? So I had my stop loss, my take profit at a 1 to 2 RR, right? Or not a 1 to 2, sorry, right? I had my take profit at a 1.5 RR, I think, I'm pretty sure. And then all of a sudden, a big ass Diddy candle came in clutch and smashed my take profit. Bro, this was the most fucking insane thing that I've ever seen. Like, dead ass, bro. I was in this trade, and all of a sudden, the fucking market just boom, pumped up. So I only made $122 because I ended up losing the first trade. So I made around 180 with this trade, but it is what it is. Like I said, I mean, I think I could have went for a 1 or 2 RR, but I only targeted a 1.5. It took a while, but ended up hitting the 1 or 2. But yeah, this was the most craziest trade that I've actually ever been in. So yeah, this was a good trade just because of 13 EMA breakout. Like I said, now this one did look better for me because we go to the higher time frames on the 4-hour, right? Let me see, sorry. Let's go to the 1 hour. As you guys can see right here, we did have a breakout, a breakup structure on the 1 hour as well. And now on the difference between this pair NQ and S&P, on S&P it looked like we were consolidating. On NQ it literally looked more it looked way better in my opinion. Like as you guys can see here, we were creating lower low, lower high, lower low, right? right here we created this high, right? If we continued to create lower lows, we would have taken out Asia session's low, which we didn't. We took out London's high, creating another higher high, taking out Asia's high, right? And now we just need to pull back and then come up, right? So I decided to just join this one because it looked a lot better to me, right? As you guys know, this ended up winning because of the 13 EMA breakout structure to the upside and the higher time frames, right? So this was a good trade. But yeah, let's go ahead and go to Friday. Now Friday was also another banger, bro, another banger. But you guys can call me greedy because I low-key was being greedy on Friday, right? So let's go to gold. Okay, now gold was all right. So this was the trade right here. I ended up going for a 13 EMA breakout to the upside on gold. Right here we did have a breakout candle at 755. I did not take that trade. I did target this. I hit a 1 to 2 RR. I was going for a 1 to 3 RR, right? So your boy was like, all right, you know what, I usually just hit 1 to 1, 1 to 2s, you know, I'm gonna go for that 1 to 3, right? So I go for the 13 EMA breakout for 1 to 3. As you guys can see here, we are bullish, right? Obviously we took out all these highs. We are bullish on gold, right? That is the reason why I took this 13 EMA breakout trade, as well as the EMAs looked good, right? So the higher time frames were bullish. 5 minute was bullish. We had good EMAs, so obviously I'm gonna take this trade. Okay, so your boy was like this, right? I did not hit the 1 to 3, but I hit the 1 to 2. And so your boy was like, you know what, I'm gonna let it be. I got out at break even, got stopped out, and I'm like, bruh, alright, whatever. Decided to join, right? I decided to join again. Okay, the reason why I decided to join again, I was like, okay, if we retrace, right? If we retrace right here back up to the upside, right? Because this was my original entry right here. All right, I was like, okay, look at the EMAs. If we start rejecting, right? If we start rejecting off of the 15 minute EMA, right? Retracing back to my original entry, I am going to join. I decided to join right as soon as my original entry got tapped into right here, and then I had my stop loss a little bit shorter, and I decided to risk around, I think it was around $70. So I decided to lower my risk on this trade, and I decided to just target a 1.5 RR. All right, so I made around $140. Or no, sorry, I only targeted a 1 to 2. Okay, only targeted a 1 to 2 RR, which ended up hitting right there, right? So I had my take profit right there, and as you guys can see, then it hit the 1.5, and then it hit the 1.5, right? So I risked around $70, right? It was around there that I decided to enter off the trade. Stop loss was underneath, and I decided to re-enter this trade, and then boom, it got off of a 1 to 3. I decided to get out the 1 to 2 because I was like, bro, you know what, I'm not gonna risk it, I'm not gonna stop being greedy. So the first trade that I ended up taking on gold, which was this one right here, I was up around $200. This one I could have made around $356 actually catching this trade. But it is what it is. Your boy learns. But yeah, the reason why I had my take profit right here was just because of this 5 minute supply zone right here. I didn't think it was gonna get respected because, like I said, we were bullish, but we did have a good dump to the downside just because we had a retracement and then going back up. But like I said, boys, I decided to just have my take profit just in case right there, and I ended up getting out at a 1 to 2 RR. I'm only making $140, but if I would have held, I would have probably caught $300. But it is what it is. You live and learn, right? First trade was trying to catch the 1 to 3. Second trade just went for the 1 to 2. and lowered the risk. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this video. Those were my 2 trades from last week. I only ended up trading 3 times last week. But yeah, boys, so the first 2 weeks of May were just basically break even weeks. On the 3rd week of May, I ended up being on I ended up losing 105, and then I ended up making 220, and then I only broke even on Thursday and Friday, only making $50 and $22. And then on the last week of May was a really banger week for me. I ended up basically making my whole month green on the end of the day. But yeah, boys, that is it for this video. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. Make sure you guys join Discord completely free down below. And yeah, boys, that's gonna be it, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.